following. Today, she was asked a series of very simple questions. They were questions that did not require top security clearance. And yet, there was a failure to give proper answers. We asked questions with regards to the Prime Minister's knowledge. We asked questions about the briefings that he received. We asked questions with regard to whether or not he was informed concerning Beijing's interference in our elections. Ms. Telford refused to provide simple answers to these very simple questions. We know that numerous intelligence documents were made available to the media and have been reported to the public. We referenced those documents throughout our questions today, and again, the questions that we put forward were skirted or altogether shot down. Now, what's quite convenient is that Ms. Telford cannot confirm the existence of documents that contain, of course, the most damning information concerning the Prime Minister. And with that, I'm talking about documents that reveal Beijing's interference in our elections, Beijing's motivation to elect Liberals to the House of Commons by providing paid staff members to these campaigns, as well as funneling hidden, secret, and illegal money to them. Ms. Telford was not able to discuss these documents conveniently. What's interesting, however, is that Ms. Telford had no problem whatsoever denying the existence of some documents. But when it came to this document, the document that shows Beijing's interference in order to elect Liberals, Ms. Telford did not deny the existence of that one. So I'll allow her silence to speak for itself. However, Ms. Telford also told us that the Prime Minister is briefed regularly. Ms. Telford also told us that she is the Prime Minister's right-hand individual, constantly with him. That, and I'll quote directly, the Prime Minister reads everything, and, quote, there is nothing that is ever kept from the Prime Minister, end quote. So given the fact that the Prime Minister reads everything and that nothing is ever kept from him, the committee must then assume that the Prime Minister was aware and that the Prime Minister chose to actively ignore and avoid the information, the briefings, and the warnings that were given to him by our top security and intelligence agency in this country when it comes to Beijing's interference. And one must conclude that the only reason to turn a blind eye to such information is certainly not in the best interest of the Canadian electorate, and so therefore only in the best interest of the Liberal Party of Canada, which of course benefited from this interference both by getting money and paid staff in order to secure their ridings. I'll leave it there.
Madam Chair.
There was no question, Madam Chair.
Go ahead, Ms. Telford.
Madam Chair, it's interesting that I was accused of silence, then told I wasn't asked a question when I was trying to answer, and further was then being quoted in the statement that was just made. So apparently I did say something. And Madam Chair, I would just say that what was being alleged, or at least a part of what was being alleged there, were infractions of Elections Canada law, and there are mechanisms for those things to be investigated. And so I would just suggest that you be speaking to the appropriate agencies about what, if anything, should be happening on those fronts if those things are the case. And I think the member probably could have written this, Madam Chair, beforehand, and that was one of the reasons that I was concerned about, and I think many were concerned about whether or not it was the appropriate thing for me to be coming to this committee.
Thank you, and I will just note that the comment that was made by the member took over 3 minutes, and you were able to respond in less than a minute, so the time to the member was way greater than for yourself to respond. Ms. O'Connor.
Thank you for being here again today. I think what we just witnessed was exactly what Canadians don't want out of this process, which is the Conservatives were not getting the allegations, the clips that they wanted throughout the day. So they resorted to just making a statement. After weeks of asking for you to appear, decided to use their last minutes to try and not actually ask you any questions and just summarize a series of conspiracy theories, frankly, that have testimony here today does not corroborate. So in the last moments that I have left here, I'd like to ask you about the process. Ms. Harder talked about how you could have conveniently, or you conveniently gave non-answers, even though you could have. How you could have conveniently, or you conveniently gave non-answers,